Hi, I'm Wanda with Jimmy Branch Homestead, and today I'm making homemade cream of celery soup and going to can it. So what we're going to need for this recipe is 3 bunches of celery, and I have to finely chop that. I'm not going to do that on camera. I'll do that off camera. 3 quarts of chicken broth. Mine is homemade, canned in half pints, so I'll need 6 of those. 1 cup of butter, 2 sticks. 1/2 cup of onion. And 1.5 cups of flour. And 1 tablespoon of salt. That's all there is as far as ingredients. So let me get this stuff all chopped up, and then I'll come right back to you. You guys, I'm not even kidding you. I used my food processor, and each bunch of celery only took me about a minute to go through the processor to really good, and it chops it really nice. Hopefully you can see that there. But just to show you real quick, and don't force it because you'll end up with big chunks in it. Just let it sit in there and go on its own. Look at that! And I'm done. So, yes, I had already done most of that stock first. But let me get this in the pot. Then I'll have all the celery in the pot. And I just need to chop up the onion real quick. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run it through the processor. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm back and I have all of the celery in the pot. It's kind of dark. Let me see if this light helps any. Not a lot. Anyway, so all the celery is in the pot. There, you can see it a little. And now into that, I'm going to dump all the chicken broth. Now I had some that were just little half pints because it was the end of a batch when I was making the chicken broth. And if you're wondering why some of it's darker than others, it's just because it's chicken bone broth. And those were just cooked longer to get more of the nutrients out of the bones. So the longer it cooked, the darker it got. Okay, so we're going to I'm going to stir it up first because all the celery, oh no, it's not on the bottom. It's floating in there good. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on and get it warming first because my burner in the back is a very small burner. And then I'm going to clean up these jars, get them out of the way, the counter a little bit, and we'll come back and get ready for the next step. Okay, so my celery and broth mixture just started to boil, so I went ahead and moved it to the back burner since it is a small burner. And on the front burner here, I have my 1 cup of butter and my 1/2 cup of onion. And right now it's just melting together. And so we're going to saute that till the onions start turning brown. So it's nowhere near it yet. Still melting the butter. So I'm going to start to brown these. When they start getting almost there, I'll bring it back. Okay, it's kind of hard to see with all the bubbles going on, but the onions are browning. Maybe oh, there you can maybe see it better. You guys, it smells amazing in here. Between the celery broth mixture and the onions, oh, it's making me hungry. Okay, so now we are going to whisk in, I've shut the burner off so it don't blow up, the salt and flour mixture. Oh yeah, now you can see the golden brown. Now that the foam's going down a little. Oh, it smells so good. You could probably see where it's brown more now because the foaming's going down. Now this recipe that I am doing is considered a rebel canning. So there's nothing wrong with it. The Amish have been doing it for over 100 years. Many other people have too. I know that there's a lot of things have changed since I was a kid that they do different. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can put the recipe in freezer containers and freeze it. But I am going to pressure can it for 90 minutes. Or excuse me, 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. And I usually do my soups mostly in pints to be more closer to the size of a can of soup. Okay, so next we're going to put the celery and broth mixture back on the front burner. Turn off the back one. And it's boiling good. Ow. And we're going to add this mixture into the celery and broth. I'm still using my whisk because now, and I'm actually going to turn it down some, now what we're doing is waiting for it to thicken. And I want to make sure I'm getting all the lumps out of that flour mixture. Smells just like regular cream of celery soup. I use this a lot for cooking, casseroles and dishes. I sometimes eat it by myself, by itself. I enjoy cream of celery soup. And I'm excited about putting more meals on the pantry shelf. I used to freeze all my soups, but I just don't have room in the freezer. We both hunt and we have venison in the freezer, and we're trying to raise more and more of our own meat and food. Okay, I think it's getting close. I'll bring you in to show you in just a minute. I kind of wish my whisk handle was a little bit longer. In this stock pot, it seems pretty hot. Oh yeah, I can feel it's really thickening up. Looks amazing, smells amazing. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. We are going to hot pack all of this today, meaning my water in the canner is hot. the soup is hot and the jars are hot. I have them in the oven. They've been in there for probably close to an hour at 200 degrees to be hot. I'm going to take the jars out one at a time. Oh, I need to grab my, get my lids ready. I'm using the superb lids from Azure Standard. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. See if I can not make a mess filling these jars. And this you're going to leave a little more headspace, 1.5 inches headspace. So when I get close, I'm going to measure, because 1 inch is basically to the bottom of the rims here. And so I need to go another 1/2 inch. Measure that, and 2 of these little steps here will be 1/2 inch. So I could put just a tiny bit more in. I have a clean rag. It's stained up from canning. I am going to wipe the rim. Double check that spacing. Perfect. Put on a lid and a ring. To finger tight, which means I always spin it and then give it a little part of a turn more. You don't want to over tighten it or your jars will not seal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish filling up all these jars, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have the canner loaded. My canner does hold 8 pints. And my canner has about 5 quarts of water in here. My canner calls for about 3 inches. So I figured that out to be 5 pints. 5 quarts. So next I'm going to put the lid on. Mine is a Presto 23 quart canner. And now I'm going to turn the water or the burner back on medium high to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up too fast. So I want to bring it up until I have steam pouring out the top vent here. So when I do, I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see it real well, but the steam is coming out of the vent pretty steady now. So at this point, I need to set the timer for 10 minutes. When you're pressure canning, the vent needs to be vented for 10 minutes. Okay, so my little weight is rocking gently, which is what we want. So for my stove, it's a gas stove and it has pretty high heat, even on medium. So I find medium to medium low is where I like to keep the temperature on there. Otherwise it rocks too hard. So now that it's rocking, I'm going to process the jars for 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. Okay, so the alarm's going off. It has processed for the 75 minutes. Now I'm going to turn the burner off, and we're not going to touch this. If you try to release the pressure too quickly, you'll have siphoning. And because I'm using a Presto, it's not as heavy as like the All-American, so it cools off faster, and I sometimes do have problems with siphoning, but I'm just going to leave it to cool on its own till it drops completely in pressure. And okay, so it's the next day, and I've completed my canning project of the cream of celery soup. And I did taste some that was left in the pot, and in my opinion, it is better than Campbell's. It has more celery flavor than the celery soup that I buy. So I'm very excited about putting 12 meals on the pantry shelf. So I did can the original canner of 8 jars, and then I had to run a second canner with 4. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share our videos. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead.